Gabbard, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil, chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk a doubter, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry we were a little bit late. I was in the West Wing swearing in Tulsi Gabbard, and so I just came straight back here. So thanks for being patient with us with the delay. We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them. With me today, I'm so proud to be joined by Tammy Nobles. Thank you for having me here today and being able to share Kayla's story. Her murderer was able to come across the border knowing that he was flagged as an MS-13 gang member, and he had a criminal record in 2020 in El Salvador for illicit gang activity. He came over as an unoccupied alien child, saying that he was afraid of gang activity in his country. Health and Human Services called him a nice boy, and he showed age-appropriate behavior. That fell so wrong when he murdered my daughter. He ended up in Maryland, where he was able to rent a room in the same mobile home as her. We thought it was a legit company that were renting out these rooms, but it turned out that it was another illegal immigrant who owned these mobile homes, and he knew Walter from El Salvador. He knew him and allowed him to rent a room with my child. Kayla just turned 20 years old 3 days before she was murdered. Her murderer was only living there for 5 days before he viciously strangled her, raped her, and left her on the floor like trash and robbed her of $6.
Yo, welcome to the MC Too Tall Show. I am your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host, master of sound quality, MC Too Tall. Whoa. Pam Bondi does what Bondi does best. She dropped a Bondi bomb. And boy, oh boy, is it a doozy, doozy, doozy. That whatever his face is from the DMV, Huckster, Hochul, and Letitia James, all being sued
by the Department of Justice. So this Attorney General is going in. This isn't weaponized justice like we had with the Biden administration. This is real justice. Justice that is actually justified. And you saw that sweet, innocent angel mom up there pleading her case. Somebody murdered her daughter, raped and killed her 20-year-old daughter. And that someone was an illegal trespasser that found his way to New York, escaped from New York to go to, did I say North Carolina? I meant to say Maryland. Went to Maryland to rape and kill a 20-year-old girl. This sweet, innocent 20-year-old girl was raped and killed by somebody who should have not have been in the country at all. Who should have not been in the country at all. And this is the case also with Hosea Bauer, Laken Riley's killer. There's another one that was in New York. In jail in New York. Or at least a holding cell. They didn't want to wait for ICE. They did that catch-release thing like they do in New York. Hosea Bauer was somehow able to weasel his way down to Georgia like the devil that he was. Sees Laken Riley jogging. Tries to catch a rap with her. She rejects his advances. He gets mad because she rejected his advances. He took that as an offense to his culture and beat her to death. This was a person that was in New York, found his way to another state, and murdered in that other state. Just like the case as described by that grieving mother earlier in this video. And all I could say is that you should listen to my show. You should always watch the MC Too Tall show, because this is the show that brings you validity. You will never have a reason to put on press-on nails and false eyelashes and scream at me with a raspy voice, "You are not valid," when watching my show. And I urge you not to do that. Please don't do that. But anyway, back to the show. Pam Bondi was pretty busy today. Or pretty busy this week, swearing in Tulsi Gabbard and going right to the press conference to announce her lawsuit on Huckster Hochul. Huckster Hochul, who is very careful, as I said in my last video, about the Eric Adams situation. And yes, I believe Eric Adams will cooperate with the Trump administration. I believe Eric Adams will cooperate with the Trump administration. But if inevitable Republican opponent, Curtis Sliwa is mindful, he will get on top of that and change his name from Swagger Man with No Plan to Too Little Too Late. Because whether he cooperates with Donald Trump or not, the fact that he's acting now and not years ago makes him Too Little Too Late Eric Adams. And yes, I am a little relieved that the dogs of lawfare were not turned on him, but he still should lose the election in the proper manner. And I don't think Andrew Cuomo is going to beat Eric Adams in the primaries, because there are people who are that disgusted with Andrew Cuomo. Originally, I thought Andrew Cuomo might get the Democratic nomination for mayor of New York, but I don't think he will, because I've personally asked a lot of people. I've taken my own survey without writing anything down. I don't have an actual figure on my hands, but surveying the people that I talk to every day, Cuomo doesn't have their support. Cuomo does not have their support. And so Eric Adams, I could foresee beating Cuomo and beating the four schmucks that are speaking against Adams now from his own party. But I don't see him getting a second term. We'll one day have a two-term black mayor, but it's not going to be Eric Adams. We have to have a black mayor that is not a Democrat, because most likely that'll be a mayor that does not suck. And then that mayor will more than likely serve 2 terms if the New York voters know what's right for themselves. Curtis Sliwa should be mayor. He's a law and order guy. He's a guy whose whole life was revolved around doing something about crime. And originally, Mayor Koch saw him as a vigilante, originally right from get, but then changed his tune over the years. Giuliani took a shine to him. Bloomberg kind of tolerated him, but Bloomberg is a like a mushy Tide Pod. He goes wherever he fits. He changes political parties as often as most cat owners change the litter box. And so you can't trust Michael Bloomberg. So whatever he has to say about anything is not valid. He's not an accomplished human being. He's out of touch with the needs of the people. I always believed wholeheartedly that it's not the people way atop the ivory tower that know what's best for you. It's the people who are fitting in those boots on the ground right beside you who know what's best for you. Curtis Lee was that guy. But back to this lawsuit with Huckster Hochul. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Pam Bondi suing Huckster Hochul, Fatisha James, and DMV dude. And I hope they have to pay out. They're going to have to pay out. And you know what? I hope they get smacked again with a lawsuit for Hosea Barra murdering Lake and Riley in Georgia. That might be an Alvin Bragg thing. I hope they sue the shit out of Alvin Bragg. to the point where he doesn't see it as practical being a DA anymore, and resigns. That would be an awesome thing, wouldn't it? Tell you this, once we get the people with the authority to fire him, he will be fired. Once we get righteous people with the authority to fire him, he will be fired, I should say. But one step at a time. Even if somehow, some way, Huckster Hochul survives this lawsuit, which she won't, she'll have to pay. That'll be the biggest stain on her career thus far. And she's got quite a few already. From her buffoonish, racist-sounding rhetoric to calling many of her own voters clowns because they also happen to have been Trump voters and supporters, right? To the biggest huckster move, the very prime example of why she's a huckster. Puts a $15 congestion price on the table, sees everybody get mad, pulls it off, then puts it back at $9, trying to make you believe she's doing you a favor because it's lower than the initial 15. You know how much the congestion pricing should be? 0. Nobody should be charged to drive to Manhattan unless they're going through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. Now, I can understand charging for the tunnel. It requires maintenance, more so than most of the bridges. But leave the East River crossings alone and stop with this congestion pricing. I know quite a few people who are advocates against it. State Senator Steve Chan has been speaking against it. And I know for a fact that Congresswoman Maliotakis has been speaking against it. I know some radio personalities like Sid Rosenberg that has been speaking against it. And this is something else. So between that and the lawsuit, she doesn't stand a chance for re-election. Any Republican can step up in 2026, and Albany is theirs if they want it. Respect God. Watch out for the Illuminati. Please follow and share my content. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Stay strong. Keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building. The hardcore, fierce, and sexy one. Hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. Okay, till next time.